We live in a society of law and order, and there's many laws we follow each day which help protect the health and safety of us all. Fortunately, however, not all laws are created equal, and some are just wild, weird, and wonderful. From some relics of the past that are seemingly so strange, to some more recent laws that really don't make any sense. What is up, Top 10 fam? Welcome back. I am your host today, Olivia Kosolofski, and today we are going to be covering the top 10 weirdest laws in history. Let's dive right in. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have royal fish. This is one law that came into existence because someone was feeling a little greedy. Since 1327, it has been decreed that all beached whales in the UK belong to the king or queen, and we can all thank Edward II for this one. In 1324, he passed a law defining whales, sturgeons, dolphins, and porpoises caught within 5 kilometers of the shore as royal fish. These fish collected a lot of money in medieval markets, and those who were wealthy wanted these fish for their special feasts and banquets. Of course, instead of purchasing them with your riches, what do? Well, you just make up an insane law so that you can steal them, of course. What's even crazier is that this law actually hasn't been repealed, and in 2004 there was a fisherman who caught a 10-foot sturgeon near Wales, and he actually had to ask Queen Elizabeth's permission to sell it. Apparently she told him that he could use the catch, quote, as he saw fit. In our number 9 spot today, we have strange cows. This law is one that was repealed in 1974 because at one point, I'm sure this made a lot of sense, but surely by 1974 and especially by now, it is simply just hilarious. This law is from Texas, and it stated that whoever, without the consent of the owner, shall take up, use, or milk any cow not his own, faced a $10 fine. How weirdly specific. There was a law and a specific amount of a fine set up just for milking a stranger's cow. I mean, I feel like I understand why this one is illegal, because how strange is it to just milk someone else's cow? A little intrusive if you ask me, to be honest. Of course, the only reason you'd be milking someone else's cow would be to steal the milk, and that is still rude to do now, but back in the day that could have had much heavier implications. Although that specific law was repealed, there is still a law in Texas that is in regards to the same sort of thing. It is still illegal to milk someone else's cow without permission, but now you'll be charged with theft and trespassing instead of a flat $10 rate. Also, who wants to be the weirdo stealing milk straight from a cow? In our number 8 spot today, we have cold feet. Okay, apparently since 19th century France, it's been legal to marry a dead person. Yeah, had to cut right to the chase with this one because beating around the bush simply just didn't seem right. Also known as necromancy, this law dates back to times when being born out of wedlock was a big no-no. So, say if your husband was to be out at war while you were pregnant and he ended up passing away in the war, this law would help to ensure that your child was born from within a marriage. The consent of the person who passed away could either be given by their family or if there was an existing engagement before they passed. This law still does actually exist in a way, with the most current form coming in 1959 after a terrible incident where a dam burst and 423 people lost their lives. One of the most recent examples of this was in 2017 when someone's partner was killed in a terror attack and he was still able to marry his partner posthumously. While this law sounded a little weird in the beginning, I am glad to know that it had some practical and important uses. In our number 7 spot today, we have no fun. Since 1966 in Victoria, Australia, it has been illegal to fly a kite in a public space if it bothers someone else. You actually can't even play a game in a public space if it's gonna annoy someone else. I really hope you don't have a Karen in the neighborhood, I guess, or no jump rope for you. This was listed as a part of the Summary Offences Act, but it's crazy that this is something that came into effect as recently as 1966 and not hundreds of years ago. It just seems like such a random rule to instate. And it was way more popular to see these kinds of no fun laws in legislation from centuries ago. Or Footloose, I guess. Anyways, all of this aside, I don't think that there are many Aussies who will be upset if you choose to fly a kite on a nice breezy day. In our number 6 spot today, we have no UFO parking. After a man in this French winemaking town reported seeing aliens leave in a cigar-shaped UFO, the town of Châteauneuf-de-Pape made this law as follows. Article 1. The overflight, the landing, and the takeoff of aircraft known as flying saucers or flying cigars, whatever their nationality is, are prohibited on the territory of the community. Article 2. Any aircraft known as flying saucer or flying cigar which should land on the territory of the community will be immediately held in custody. Article 3. The forest officer and the city policeman are in charge, each one in what relates to him, of the execution of this decree. Not only is this law hilarious, but it's also super effective because they haven't seen any aliens or UFOs since it was passed in 1954. I really do respect them for doing what they can to protect their vineyards, however, but maybe the aliens just want a little wine too. In our number 5 spot today we have no gum. You know when some people choose to do something wrong and then it ruins things for everyone who wasn't doing the wrong thing? Yeah, that's what happened in Singapore, and now no one can chew gum. There were some people who decided to try and mess with the mass rapid transit system, and they used chewing gum to do it. These people ended up costing the Housing and Development Board $150,000 a year just to clean up this gum, so in 1992 they banned it. They banned all gum substances, and so anyone importing, selling, or making gum can potentially face fines or even jail time. In 2004, however, there was an exception made for those who needed gum for therapeutic, dental, or nicotine chewing gum reasons, and those can be bought from a doctor or pharmacist. I wonder if there's an underground gum ring in Singapore now. In our number 4 spot today we have no high heels. This law is a strange one, but it will be no problem for the overpacker in your life. If you're taking a trip to Greece anytime soon, make sure you don't pack only high heels, because if you do, then you won't be able to visit the Acropolis. That's right, in 2009 the country banned wearing high heels there. I really don't know why anyone would want to walk around there in high heels. I mean, ruins and dirt don't exactly make me scream stilettos, but clearly it was happening enough that a rule needed to be made. This rule, although seemingly random, is actually important. As it turns out, people's sharp shoes may have been damaging the site, and truly that's just not worth it. The ruins are 2,500 years old, so at this point I feel like we can throw on a pair of Vans and call it a day. No one needs to wear black tie attire when visiting a historical site. Like, sorry I forgot my ball gown, can I still visit Göbekli Tepe? That was a dumb joke. In our number 3 spot today we have Jellicle Cats. In 1939, in what was called, quote, a war measure to alleviate mental strain upon the populace, the town of French Lick Springs, Indiana passed a law that required all black cats to wear bells on Friday the 13th. This would make sure that anyone who heard a cat's bell was able to avoid crossing their path and having bad luck. I honestly feel like I should be making this up, but it's true. I guess I can really appreciate them doing what they can to alleviate the stressors in the lives of those who are having to live through a world war, but it just seems like there's so many other way more stressful parts of a war than black cats on one specific day. Like, imagine if we were entering World War III and we were like, nuclear bunkers? And the government was like, no, but you don't have to worry about black cats anymore. In our number 2 spot today we have Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh Bear is a well-known and loved animated figure, but he doesn't wear pants, and apparently a pantsless bear is upsetting to some people. Because of this weird issue, there's apparently a law in Poland that has banned Winnie the Pooh from playgrounds and schools. I mean, wait till they hear about all the pantsless and shirtless bears that are just walking around outside. I'm not sure how they'll be able to keep it together. I'm not exactly sure how far this one can be taken. I mean, if your kid has a Winnie the Pooh sticker, are they gonna be sent to jail? Probably not. I mean, even a fine seems a little ridiculous though, right? I don't know. I guess there's a reason I don't make laws. Winnie the Pooh is just a little too risque these days, I guess. In our number 1 spot today we have Footloose. Since we mentioned it all the way back at number 7, let's talk about a very real sort of Footloose situation. This law was instituted in Japan and was enacted in 1948 while US soldiers were occupying. Basically, the idea behind it was to stop Americans from corrupting the citizens of Japan, and basically, dancing in a club after midnight was banned. It is said that dance halls often used to be fronts for other businesses during this time when the nation was poverty-stricken. The activity was considered just too sinful, but now, since Japan is one of the largest economies in the world with a high standard of living and a vibrant nightlife, the ban was finally lifted in 2015. There is still a rule around post-midnight dancing though, it's just slightly more relaxed. You can dance, but once the clock strikes midnight, you need to be doing it in a well-lit room. I'm not sure what that changes, but what I do know is that when the lights come on after last call, it's time to go. Speaking of time to go, that's our list for today, guys. Thank you so much for checking it out. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed it today. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more. See you guys on the next one. Bye!